School lockdown stories, a day of fear and uncertainty. This is something you all have been asking for nonstop for a while now. It took some time, but I finally managed to track down 3 stories that take place during school lockdowns. It was just another dull day in calculus class, but it was a Friday 7th period, meaning the week was nearly over and spring break was just around the corner. Everyone was getting fidgety in their seats. You could feel it. We didn't have a test like a lot of my friends had in their other classes, so our teacher, in the middle of the lesson, decided to play some games with us on sporkle.com. He was that kind of laid-back teacher. While we were taking a brand logo quiz, I remember the exact moment it all started. Right after my friend answered a question, the one about Adidas, the dean's voice came through the loudspeaker. He sounded frantic and panicked, urgently telling the teachers that this was not a drill and to go into lockdown. I got chills, goosebumps ran down my arms, and even our usually calm teacher seemed shaken as he rushed to turn off the lights and pushed us to the back corner of the room. We sat in silence for a couple of minutes, and then the usual buzzing from the panel in the back of the room went quiet, meaning the school had likely cut the power. We exchanged glances, realizing this wasn't just a typical drill. After a few more minutes of waiting, we heard a man screaming loudly down the hall. 2 girls in the class started crying, which made all of us even more frightened. As the screams grew louder, the man began pounding on the lockers, shouting, "I'll kill all of you!" That was the moment I started truly fearing for my life. Our teacher hushed us, and we all glanced around, exchanging nervous looks. The banging moved from the lockers to the door of our classroom. One of the crying girls screamed, "No!" The banging intensified as the man shouted, "Open up!" Now, 2 of the girls were openly sobbing. The pounding on the door seemed to go on forever. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the man's screaming faded as he moved down the hall, still shouting like a madman until we couldn't hear him anymore. About 10 minutes later, though it felt much longer, the dean came back over the loudspeaker, explaining what had happened, which was unusual for him to do. He revealed that a mentally unstable person had entered the building, attacked the receptionist, and forced her to flee the building in a panic, and that they weren't sure if the man was armed. This was before the school had cameras or any serious security. The school was vulnerable to situations like this. Staff had searched the hallways and classrooms, but couldn't find him, so the dean instructed the teachers to resume normal lessons, but keep all doors locked and to prevent students from leaving. The most unsettling part came when a janitor working the late shift found the man asleep in one of the storage closets at the back of the school. Rumors spread among the students that the man had a .44 Magnum sticking out of his pocket. The janitor must have done something foolish to wake him up, maybe left the door open, because by the time the police arrived, the man had vanished. As far as I know, my class still doesn't know if he was ever caught, but I like to believe he's getting the help he needs now. My school has 2 lunch periods. The first lunch is for all 6th graders and some 7th graders. The second lunch period is for the rest of the 7th graders and all 8th graders. The lockdown happened in early October. The weather that day was overcast and rainy. During the first lunch period, I heard 4 loud booms. At first, I thought it was just thunder, but suddenly the whole lunch crowd started screaming. I thought the kids were overreacting, but then campus security rushed in and began shouting at everyone to get into the multi-purpose room, and the kids still in line had to throw their lunches away and go inside. Me and a few friends headed into the room, joining a large group of other students. We were all curious about what was going on. Our multi-purpose room was huge, with a back wall made entirely of glass. When we got inside, security immediately covered the glass with curtains, and there were adults stationed at every exit.